The arena was electric. Hundreds of people packed the seats, roaring as the reigning strongman champion lifted impossible weight above his head. Metal bent. Wood cracked. Muscles flexed under the bright lights. He fed off the applause. With a grin full of confidence, he stepped forward and raised his hand for silence. "Is there anyone here?" he shouted, scanning the crowd. "Who thinks they can test real strength?" Laughter erupted. No one moved. Then his eyes locked onto someone standing quietly near the edge of the audience. A slim, calm man dressed simply, arms relaxed, expression unreadable. The champion smirked. Perfect target. Without hesitation, he walked over, grabbed the man by the arm, and pulled him toward the center. The crowd gasped. Some cheered. Others felt the tension rising. The quiet man didn't resist. He didn't argue. He didn't show fear. He simply stepped forward, steady and composed. The strong man chuckled. "You don't look very powerful." The man replied softly, "Power isn't always loud." A strange silence began to spread across the arena. The strong man tightened his grip slightly, raising the quiet man's arm, as if presenting a trophy he had already won. "Look at him," he laughed, turning to the audience. "This is what courage looks like, or maybe confusion." The crowd reacted with mixed energy. Some laughed along. Others shifted in their seats, unsure whether this was entertainment or something more uncomfortable. The lean stranger stood relaxed, shoulders loose, breathing slow. No anger, no fear, just awareness. The champion circled him like a predator sizing up easy prey. "You don't have the build," he said loudly. "Strength takes years of muscle. You can't fake this." The quiet man met his eyes calmly. "Muscle is visible," he replied evenly. "Control is not." A ripple of murmurs spread through the arena. The strong man scoffed. "Control? This isn't philosophy class. This is power." He flexed again for the crowd, soaking in applause. But something had shifted. The laughter wasn't as loud now. People were studying the stranger more closely. There was something different about him. He wasn't defensive. He wasn't trying to prove anything. He simply stood there, centered. The champion pushed further. "Tell everyone your name," he demanded. The man paused briefly. Names didn't matter here. Energy did. Presence did. The tension thickened. You could almost feel the balance of the moment hanging in the air. The strong man expected nervousness. Instead, he felt stillness. And sometimes, stillness is more unsettling than fear. The arena quieted again as the two faced each other under the lights. The champion smirked, but doubt flickered for the first time. When someone is underestimated like this, do you think quiet confidence is stronger than loud dominance? Why? The strong man stepped back and raised his voice so the entire arena could hear him. "All right," he announced confidently. "Let's make this simple. No tricks, no speeches, just a test of strength." The crowd leaned forward. He placed a heavy metal bar at center stage, something only seasoned athletes dare to handle. The message was clear. This would end quickly. "Lift it," the champion said with a grin. "Let's see what your control can do." The quiet man looked at the bar, then at the strong man. He didn't rush. He didn't react to the pressure. Instead, he adjusted his stance slowly. Feet grounded, spine aligned, breath steady. The arena grew strangely silent. The strong man rolled his shoulders, already imagining the laughter that would follow. In his mind, this was over before it began. But the lean stranger didn't grab the bar immediately. He stepped closer to the champion instead. "Strength," he said calmly, "is not about lifting the heaviest object. It's about understanding force." The words unsettled something. The strong man frowned. Enough talking. He reached forward to shove the quiet man lightly. A public display meant to provoke imbalance. But something unexpected happened. The push didn't move him, not even slightly. No dramatic resistance, no aggressive reaction, just perfect stability. A murmur swept across the audience. The champion tried again, harder this time. Still nothing. The lean stranger's balance felt immovable, like a rooted tree. For the first time, doubt crept across the strong man's face. This wasn't going according to plan. Energy in the arena shifted from amusement to anticipation. The second push was stronger. This time, the strongman put real force behind it. His feet dug into the floor. His shoulders tightened. Muscles expanded under the bright lights. He expected resistance, maybe even a stumble. Instead, he felt nothing. No shift, no instability, no panic. The lean stranger absorbed the force like water absorbing a stone, redirecting it without visible effort. A sharp gasp rippled through the arena. The strongman quickly stepped back, pretending it was part of the show. He laughed loudly, tried to reclaim control of the moment. "Not bad," he said. "You're heavier than you look." But his eyes told a different story. He tried again, this time with strategy. A sudden pull instead of push. In one swift motion, he grabbed the quiet man's wrist and yanked. For a split second, it looked like the lean figure would be dragged forward. But then something happened so subtle, yet so shocking, that many in the crowd didn't even understand what they had witnessed. The strong man stumbled. Not violently, not dramatically, but clearly. His balance broke. His footing slipped. His own force turned against him. The quiet man had barely moved. A stunned silence swallowed the arena. The champion straightened himself quickly, cheeks flushed, pride clearly shaken. He circled again, slower this time, more cautious. The energy had changed. Moments ago, he was entertaining the crowd. Now he was being studied. He rushed forward once more, attempting to overpower through sheer strength. But the lean stranger pivoted lightly, redirecting momentum with precision. No aggression, no flashy movement, just timing. The strong man staggered again. Whispers spread through the audience. Who is this guy? How is he doing that? For the first time, the champion wasn't smiling. He was calculating. He lunged again, faster, determined to prove dominance. But every attempt dissolved into imbalance. Every burst of power met invisible control. The quiet man's breathing remained steady. His expression never changed. It wasn't brute force versus weakness anymore. It was force versus mastery. The crowd could feel it. This wasn't luck. This wasn't accident. This was skill. A man near the front row leaned toward his friend and whispered something. Another person repeated it. Then another. A name. The realization began spreading like a slow wave through the arena. The strongman noticed the shift in atmosphere. The applause had stopped. The cheering had faded. Now, there was only anticipation and growing respect for the unknown challenger. He paused, staring directly at the calm figure before him. "Who are you?" he demanded, breathing heavier than before. The lean man met his gaze. Silence stretched. The arena waited. At this moment, would you double down on pride or pause and reassess everything? The question hung in the air. Who are you? The strongman's voice no longer carried the same swagger. It carried tension, frustration, a crack in certainty. The quiet man didn't answer immediately. Instead, he stepped slightly to the side, adjusting his stance once more. Calm, balanced, a presence that now felt undeniable. The champion clenched his fists. "This isn't over," he said, forcing a laugh that fooled no one. "You've been dodging. Now stand still." He lunged forward with a burst of speed, not reckless but aggressive, determined to prove that raw strength could still dominate. But the moment contact was made, something extraordinary happened. The lean stranger didn't meet force with force. He redirected it. A subtle shift of weight, a controlled turn of the wrist, a precise angle of movement. And suddenly, the strong man found himself off balance again, his own momentum carrying him forward while the quiet man remained grounded. The arena gasped louder than before. This wasn't luck. This wasn't coincidence. This was understanding. The strong man stepped back, breathing heavier now. His confidence was fading, replaced by confusion. "Ow!" he muttered under his breath. The quiet man finally spoke clearly enough for the front rows to hear. "You rely on strength alone," he said evenly. "But strength without awareness defeats itself." The words weren't insulting. They were instructional. That somehow made them more powerful. The champion's jaw tightened. His pride wouldn't allow retreat. He attempted one final display, planting his feet and pushing forward with everything he had. The lean figure absorbed the pressure once more, then gently guided the force downward and aside. The movement was smooth, efficient, almost effortless. The strongman stumbled a final time, catching himself before falling, but the message was clear. The arena erupted, not in laughter, not in mockery, but in realization. The dominant force in the room had changed, without aggression, without humiliation, without violence. Just mastery. The strong man stared at the man before him, searching for answers in his eyes. There was no arrogance there, no gloating, only calm understanding. The silence returned. Slower this time. He swallowed his pride and asked again, quieter now. "Tell me your name." The lean man held his gaze. "Bruce Lee." The words traveled through the arena like electricity. A ripple of recognition. Whispers growing louder. Eyes widening. The strong man froze. The pieces finally aligned. The calm stance. The precision. The effortless redirection of force. He hadn't pulled a random spectator from the crowd. He had challenged a master. But what stunned the audience even more was Bruce's composure. No celebration. No display. No ego. Just presence. The strong man lowered his arms slowly, the fight draining from his posture. For the first time that night, the loudest man in the arena was silent, and the quietest man commanded the most respect. Bruce stepped slightly back, giving space instead of pressure. "True power," he said calmly, "is not about overpowering others. It's about mastering yourself." The words hit harder than any push. The crowd rose to its feet, not for dominance, but for discipline. The strong man looked around at the audience, then back at Bruce. His expression had changed completely. Respect had replaced ego. The arena was no longer loud. It was awake. Moments ago, the crowd had gathered to witness dominance, to cheer brute strength, to celebrate spectacle. Now, they were witnessing something far greater. The strong man stood still, chest rising and falling heavily. Not from exhaustion alone, but from realization. Across from him stood Bruce Lee, relaxed, centered, completely composed. No victory pose, no raised hands, no smirk, just calm control. The shift in power had happened quietly. The champion looked down at his own hands, the same hands that had lifted impossible weight minutes earlier. They were powerful, proven, yet they had failed against something he couldn't measure. Timing, balance, awareness. The crowd began whispering Bruce's name more openly now. Respect replaced confusion, or replaced amusement. The strong man finally spoke. "You could have embarrassed me," he admitted, voice lower than before. "Why didn't you?" Bruce's expression remained steady. "Because this was never about defeating you," he replied. "It was about understanding force." The words settled into the arena like truth finding its place. The champion looked around at the audience. People who once cheered his displays of strength. Now they were watching him differently. Not as a hero, not as a villain, but as a man standing at a crossroads. His pride had been challenged publicly, his confidence shaken, yet the moment offered him something rare growth. He took a slow breath. Then, in front of everyone, he stepped forward, not aggressively this time, and extended his hand. A simple gesture. Bruce accepted it. The handshake was not dramatic, not theatrical, but meaningful. The arena erupted in applause, not because someone had won, but because humility had entered the room. Bruce turned slightly toward the audience. "Strength is not about size," he said clearly. "It is not about shouting louder than someone else. Real strength is control over your body, your mind, and your ego." The message hit deeper than any demonstration. The strong man nodded slowly, absorbing the lesson. In that moment, he understood something most people never do. Power without awareness is incomplete, and awareness without ego is unstoppable. The atmosphere felt different now, lighter, wiser. People would leave that arena remembering more than just a challenge. They would remember the silence, the balance, the discipline. Bruce stepped back into the space he originally stood in, just another face in the crowd once again. No spotlight demanded, no attention needed. The strong man watched him with new understanding. Respect had replaced rivalry. The lesson had replaced humiliation, and the loudest applause of the night wasn't for strength. It was for restraint. If you were in that strongman's position, would you have the humility to extend your hand, or would pride stop you? The arena slowly emptied, but the energy of what had happened refused to fade. People didn't rush out laughing or shouting like they had earlier. They walked out thoughtful. Conversations echoed through the halls. Did you see how calm he was? He barely used strength. That wasn't power. That was mastery. The strongman remained near the center of the stage long after the crowd began leaving. The bright lights that once fueled his ego now felt different. Quieter, more honest. He replayed the moment in his mind. The pushes, the imbalance, the effortless control. For years, he believed dominance was loud. That intimidation created respect. That size determined outcome. But in a matter of minutes, a lean man with quiet confidence had reshaped that belief entirely. Not by force, not by humiliation, but by example. Meanwhile, Bruce Lee had already blended back into the background, leaving without ceremony. No announcement, no celebration, no demand for recognition, because the lesson was never about him. It was about understanding. They described how the strongest man in the arena was not the one who lifted the most weight, but the one who remained centered under pressure. The strongman himself changed after that night. He trained differently. He studied balance. He focused on discipline over display. And whenever someone praised his power, he would respond with something unexpected. Strength is nothing without control. The arena event became more than entertainment. It became a reminder that ego can be loud, but mastery is quiet. That real confidence doesn't need to announce itself. That sometimes the person who appears ordinary carries extraordinary depth. And perhaps the most powerful part of the story wasn't the push, the stumble, or the reveal. It was the handshake. The moment pride gave way to growth. The moment competition turned into respect. Because true greatness isn't proven when you overpower someone. It's proven when you elevate the moment. Bruce Lee didn't just demonstrate skill that night. He demonstrated character. And character echoes longer than applause.